So if we wind the clocks back to the 16th year of my age, we will find an experience called Keilan's First Date. It's a great experience. I recommend it. One day I was at my house, being alive, when I got a call on the telephone. I call on the phone from a girl who is named Amber. Amber was one of those girls that I knew, kind of. Like, she was within my circle of people that I'm friendly with, but I didn't know her very much. She was like kind of shrouded in a little bit of mystery. I just didn't know her very well. The one characteristic I can describe her by is her long, curly hair that looks like a lion. I think every single time there was like a Halloween party or a costume something, she was always a lion, and people always were amused by it. No matter how many times she recycled the lion, people were like, oh, it's funny because your hair looks like a mane. So just imagine lots of curly hair and you got Amber. Anyway, she calls me on the telephone and she says, hey, we've got a group date happening on this day. Would you like to be my date for the group date? And I was like, yeah, okay, well, yeah, sure, whatever. Time passes. Skip forward to the day of the date, the day of adventure. So we all meet together at her house, and then we have some like fun little things that we do. Like, we made big cardboard cars, and then we wore the cars on our bodies, and then we ran around and smashed into each other in the rain. That was pretty fun, actually. It was a good time. But anyways, we're back at the house. The date's like, about half over, I guess. But then Amber says to all of us, hey, I know what we can do. I can show you guys the clay place. And everyone's like, yeah, the clay place. And I was like, what the heck is a clay place? So then we all go. She lives right behind this big park with baseball diamonds, trees, people. I don't know. And she takes us into this wooded, forested area. It was like we were entering an elvish domain. Just this big old clump of trees in the middle of the park. We're walking through the pathways. And then we come to the place of clay, the clay place. So there's this river that goes through the forest, and under the water is a natural clay deposit. So there's lots of just brown clay, which honestly, if you asked me, if I were to look at the clay and not have a tour guide, which is Amber, telling me it's clay, I would just say that's a bunch of mud under there. But she said it was clay, so I just believed her. So this river is at the bottom of an 8-foot trench, 8 or 9 feet trench, like kind of tall. And the length of the trench is a good 7, 8 feet, just big enough that you couldn't jump. You couldn't jump across it if you wanted to, unless you were an athletic champion over here. We got some medals, some prizes. He's so cool. So you couldn't jump across. You had to cross by walking over these sketchy logs that were falling over. Some big, some not big. But anyways, we cross over on this really big log. It's scary. I don't like it, but we do it. We go down the hill, and then we look. There's like a little mini pond lake thing. It's just a brown lake, like it's dirty water. But we just kind of stand as a group, staring at the water, like, wow, that's beautiful. It's really brown. And then eventually, everyone starts turning around and leaving, right? We're going back home. I guess this was the fabled clay place. Just a little river with kind of muddy looking clay at the bottom. Like, awesome. I'm so glad that we came to the clay place. But anyways, everyone's leaving, and I am the last one to turn around to follow everyone. Like, even my date like ditched me. Like, I was behind the whole group by like a good space of not being with the group space. So like, I'm okay, well, I'm gonna head back, follow the trail of the trailblazers. So I started following him naturally. And there was this little group of trees that everyone went right around to get back to the log that we crossed on. And I was going to follow them when I looked to my left, and my date went left, and there's a smaller log crossing the river that she decides to cross on, and I see her cross the log and go the short way. It's a shortcut. She knows where the shortcuts are. So anyways, I see that, I pause, and then while I'm pausing, people are getting farther away from me. I'm still by myself. I don't like to be alone all of the time. Sometimes I need some people to be my friends. So I think, okay, well, I'll just follow my date naturally. So I go left, and I get over to the log, and it's visibly smaller than the log I crossed over on. It's visibly more of a lacking protein kind of a log. The log I crossed on to get over here was like a eat-all-you-can-eat meat kind of a log. This log is like a vegan log, meaning there's no fats or proteins in this thing. It's skinny. But I think, okay, well, whatever. I'll just cross it. So I start crossing, and the log starts wobbling, and I'm standing, right? My center of gravity is dangerously not good. So the log's wobbling. I think, oh, this is not a good idea. I'm gonna turn around. So I turn around, get off the log, and walk away. And I'm walking away when I made a stupid mistake. I looked back. That was the I look back, I think, you know what? I've lost too much time. Everyone's probably back at the house by now. I gotta move. So I have a great idea. Instead of walking across the log, I'm just gonna go on my hands and knees across the log, the wobbly log, the vegan log. So I start traversing this skinny log on my hands and my feet, thinking I'm a genius. And there's no wobbling, so my pride was well treated. Here you go, pride, here's a cookie. Cookie for the pride. So I get halfway across the log about. I can see victory waiting for me on the other side. When I hear a loud crack noise, kind of like if a Tyrannosaurus Rex burped up lightning. Just this massive... And then suddenly I'm falling. So the log was rotting in the middle, in the very center. And when I was on it, the log split in half with me falling between the two pieces. So the log snaps and I fall straight down. And so it's very quick. And let me tell you, when that happens, your brain just goes... So I land in the riverbed on my right arm, and I hear a second snap. Now, this one wasn't like Tyrannosaurus Rex burping up lightning. This was more like a branch snapping, like a little fairy got crushed by... Oh, that's morbid. So next thing I know, I'm standing on my feet inside this river. I'm very freaked out and I'm in shock. So I realize when I twist my arm, it hurts. That's not supposed to happen. That's very peculiar. So I keep my arm strapped to my chest and I start doing circles in the river. I start ranting to myself about how much I hate logs. Logs are dumb. I hate logs. Oh my heck. I'm never touching a log again. Logs are the worst kinds of human beings. Logs are definitely the worst political party ever. And thus I was speaking. And then I cried out for help, and the guys that were ahead came back and jumped down and helped me out, and we walked over to Amber's house while I waited for my dad to come get me. That was an interesting phone conversation. Hey Dad, I broke my arm by accident. Can you drive me to the hospital? So we awkwardly wait for my dad, and he comes and he drives me to the hospital. We get there, we have to wait for a few hours. So they give me like a temporary brace to put on my arm so it doesn't move, and they do some x-rays and they bring them out. They're like, well, looks like you have yourself a broken arm. And I think, oh, thanks. Thank you for telling me about my broken arm, but how do you fix it? Please fix it. So they bring me on a bed, and I'm on a bed lying face up, and the nurse is like, we're gonna put you under while they fix your arm. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, this is going to make you go to sleep, this drug that we're gonna put in your arm. I said, oh, okay. And they put it in my arm. They're like, okay, this is gonna put you to sleep. And I was like, okay. They're like, by the way, this is the drug that killed Michael Jackson. And I was, what? Wait, you put that in my arm and then you tell me that? I'm like, yeah, so just anytime it'll kick in. And it was the weirdest experience because like I was awake and conscious and waiting for it to work. I literally blink, and then I look down and my arm has a cast on it. So after 6 hours, we leave the hospital, me and my dad, and I've got a glow-in-the-dark cast on. And I think it's just awesome, and I can't wait for all the girls to come and sign it. Come get me. I got a glow-in-the-dark cast, and I got a Sharpie. Come and get it. But anyways, that's what my first day was like. On my first date, I broke my arm, and that was the last time I ever went on a date with Amber. Yay! Thanks everybody for watching. If you like this awkward story, you can hit the button that subscribes you to the channel, and then you can see whenever I have an awkward story. If you like awkward stories, I've got lots of them. I'll just share them whenever you feel like it. Just feel free to hit the button. Just feel free to look at the other videos. Have a wonderful day. I love you. I love you.